YouTube.
Hey, we are now live. This is really, really exciting. I really have no idea what I'm doing. This is our first time being live on YouTube, and I have a feeling there may be quite a few bugs to be worked out. But for right now, we're here. Yay. And it's not just me.
Hi. I'm trying to see if it's actually live. I'm going to be the first viewer.
We have to figure this thing out.
I see this right now. Waiting for Tabitha Blue.
So it says we're live.
So maybe it's just not actually live.
Oh, there it is. It is live. It works. Yay. We're not quite as computer illiterate as we thought. Oh my gosh, can you hear the delay?
We're in the future.
There's a delay. Okay, awesome. Yay. So we want to say welcome. If you're here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I need to move this, or we need to move back or something so we can fit both of our heads in this doodad. Or lean in. Or maybe you should move. Want me to move over there? Chair then. Okay. He's saving her spot in a part of the book that she's liking and reading. This is what we're up to tonight, you guys. Live book review.
We're not sponsored by Starbucks. I just like coffee.
Put that down. Live book review of Someday, Maybe by Lauren Graham. We have book club happening. So hashtag Fresh Mommy Reads is our book club. Tonight is the first in-person live event. So we have our doors open. People will start coming in a little bit, but we wanted to get out early and just chat with you guys first because, yeah, we thought that would be easier. Also, because for the first book club, we're not going to actually stream during like the in-person book club event.
We want to see how it goes because sometimes book clubs can be awkward at first, especially when you don't know people. And I think maybe creating an atmosphere where we can just get to know the people that do come live.
Yeah. We don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable, like there's a camera in my face, so I don't want to talk or I don't want to say anything. Meeting new people and coming to events where you're meeting people in person can already be stressful enough. So, yeah, so like Bree said, we don't want to stress people out that are coming.
But we do want you guys to get involved, and we want to hear, if you have read the book, what you think about it. And so we're going to tell you the questions that we're going to kind of go over tonight with the girls here. And we're going to post them. Well, Tab's already posted them below, so you can see them here. And we're going to also post them on Facebook and Twitter. So if you have comments, we'd love to hear them, and we're definitely going to be responding to them as well.
Oh, someone's here. You can come on in. We're just doing live. We're live on YouTube right now. So you're welcome to come sit. We're going to come over and chat in a little bit. We were just saying that we're going to start early. Like,
too.
Yes, we have snacks. So if you come in person, there are snacks. Okay, so going to go over, if I can talk, some of the questions, like Bree said, we posted them below. We'll have them on Facebook as well. But our discussion questions, and really would just love to hear what you guys thought of the book. This, I think, is my first ever novel read that was done by a celebrity that I can think of.
I mean,
that's not like an autobiography.
Is John Green a celebrity? He's kind of a YouTube celebrity. So I've read his book, but I don't know if that counts. I think it kind of does.
Yes, it does kind of. But I haven't read them.
No, you've just seen his movies.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so not me. She has. She's probably read more books than I have. But okay, so I'm just gonna read a few of the questions. Some that I really like. You know, like when you're in school and you wish you could skip through questions. That's what we're gonna do. But I have them all posted below. We're all going to talk about them tonight, but I'm just going to give you a snippet because I just answered the first one. Have you ever read a book written by a celebrity before? Like I said, no, this was my first one, especially this type. I will say, too, I'm kind of like the same as with movies. I'm not really a book snob. I just enjoy all different genres, all different kinds of reads. And so this was just a really fun one that was a story that kind of just takes you away. And I will say, I don't know if it was better or worse being written by a celebrity because I don't know Lauren Graham, but I feel like I know the person just from following her along on just Gilmore Girls and Parenthood. Exactly. And she's kind of the same character, sort of, that quirky, fast-talking character in both of those shows, and that's kind of how she comes out in this book. So I could absolutely see her, and basically I just used her to fill in the blanks through the book. I don't know if that was intended or not, but that's what happened with me, and I'm assuming it's probably that way with a lot of people that read the book.
That's what
but it's
happens
kind of fun.
Naturally. I think if you are familiar with an author or like a director or even someone, if you're like filling in the blanks for them for the story that maybe you don't necessarily see here on the page, you fill it in with what you are familiar with about them. I think that happens even if they don't intend it. It just happens.
Right? Yeah, definitely. So I actually kind of liked that about it because it just made me feel like I knew the character even more. I think the book did a really good job of explaining it, and she was a good writer. I really appreciate the book as a whole, even if it wasn't by her. But I liked it. Okay. One thing I really liked, Lauren Graham writes through the character of James. I'm not going to do any spoiler alerts on this subject of the people in her life. But at this point, I did like James. And but one of the things he said, I think living in a beautiful space is important. Since actors are artists, after all, and we're therefore more acutely affected by everything around us, poorly chosen objects are distractions, obstacles we put in the way when we're afraid of telling the truth. So one of the questions is just, do you agree or disagree with that statement? And I'm mostly agree. I don't think I'm going to blanket 100%, but I do absolutely feel like it doesn't matter who you are, an actor or not, you're absolutely affected by your surroundings, what you surround yourself with in your space. Some people are more, like I'm more subject to the effects of clutter than, say, Brainy is.
Yeah. I like to layer.
Right. But at the same time, it doesn't matter who you are, I think, just how you set yourself up, like your surroundings, if it makes you feel good, if they're objects that are special to you or important to you, or just how you layer, or even just on top of the layering, is it clean? Any person's version of clean.
Sorry, I'm trying to turn you down. I was going to check.
I think it definitely affects. Yeah, flip a seat. Do you want to be on with us?
Sure.
Awesome! Yay! Okay, good. Come on over. Okay. I don't know if we all have introduced ourselves on here. So you're on my channel. You probably know me, but if not, I'm Tabitha Blue. I'm author of freshmommyblog.com. And I thank you for being here in our very first live online book club. Yeah. And that's me. I'm so grateful that you're here. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming up right on this channel. We just bought a house. So we are in the process of remodeling. We've already shot a couple of episodes. And so, yeah. Oh, the punch?
Holy
You have to come here for this punch. It's really good. Okay. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Bree. I work with Tabitha. I do a lot of graphics and photos and videos and stuff with her. And I do a lot of other things, but I like to read, and I'm excited about the book club.
Bree's an incredible designer, so don't let that fool you. And if you do find any of like the downloads on freshmommyblog.com, especially like a lot of the backgrounds and things like that, she's designed, and a lot of them hand-drawn, so she's really good.
Wow. Very nice. My name is Sapna Shah, and I live here locally. I'm a mom to 4-year-old triplets. And
Wow.
Every time.
I'm exhausted just hearing it.
And I recently started a Do Now bucket list.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
And so reading a book and joining the book club was on it. So this was
Yay!
perfect time.
That came at perfect time. That's so good. Exactly. Oh, I love that idea. So do now bucket list. Tell us about that.
So generally bucket lists are like, you know, I want to travel somewhere
Yes.
and you need money and
Yeah.
time and a lot of
Future.
coordinating.
Yes.
So a do now bucket list is stuff I can just kind of check off now that I can do,
Yeah.
work into my life.
That's awesome.
Had you heard that before, or did you just kind of think of it?
No, I just I was thinking of a bucket. I turn 40 next month. And
Happy
I was,
birthday.
Thank you. I was kind of thinking of doing a bucket list, and I was like, well, when am I ever going to do those things? And then I was like, well, there are things that I can do now.
That's really cool.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Very cool. And she read this book in, what was it, like
3 days. Yeah.
in 3 days
Like, I can
with
make that too,
4-year-old triplets. I think that's crazy.
That's impressive. That's better than I did.
I know. That exactly. It's seriously impressive. Okay, so we're gonna pass out the discussion questions here. Are you good with
I'm
mine?
good.
Are you guys good with just
Okay.
keep it going? We're good?
Let's go.
All right, we're just gonna keep it live with you guys.
The only thing is, guys, I don't know how to read comments if you are commenting on YouTube right now, unless
Go
does
down
it have to
further?
be you? Do I have to log in as you?
Well, yeah, but you should be able to see them.
So if you're commenting I don't know. We're still trying to figure out this live.
we have links. Maybe I can send.
Maybe
I don't know what
log
this
in
means.
as you. Will that mess up the live feed though? if I do
No idea. We are new, so hopefully right
Mhm.
now whatever I'm doing doesn't mess us up.
I can still see you, I think.
Okay, here's the discussion questions. They are there, but it doesn't show comments, so maybe you can't comment on that yet.
Maybe I've never watched someone live. Actually.
Live control
I
room?
watched it later.
That where we already were. We apologize for the
This is a delay.
for the delay and for the just kind of figuring out what's happening. Well, I don't know. Let me see if I can figure out how to get back to our faces. There's our faces. Anyway, oh, there's a group chat. So it might have to be on Google Hangouts. We might have to switch this around for next time, but right now it's on Google, it's like Google Hangouts thing, and then it's streaming it live to YouTube, I believe. But there's a group chat here, and I don't see comments on YouTube. So, oh, someone's texting me.
They're like, "Hey, we want to participate." But we
I'm
can't."
commenting, but bummer you can't see.
Wait,
Yeah.
where are you commenting? On YouTube or Google? Or
You can
Facebook?
let us- yeah.
Or Twitter? Where are you commenting?
Or Instagram or Snapchat.
Let me log into your Twitter.
We're on all of the above.
Twitter. Because you can do like Twitter Hangouts, right? Or that's what it's just the hashtag.
Just the hashtag. You can hashtag any of this with your questions and
So
comments.
hashtag Fresh Mommy Reads on Twitter, and
We will
be
find all of
responding.
those. Yes, there we go.
Because that's right now.
Because I want to, hear what you guys thought of it. And I want to know what you guys thought of that statement. So, like I will say, I really did. Oh, hey. Hi, Lotus and Lilies. Hi, Carrie Cliff. She liked our YouTube. Yeah, that's my Twitter. But that's just the hashtag Fresh Mommy Reads. Okay. So you can find it all there. Okay. So I guess for right now, if you have questions or comments or things that you want to share in 140 characters or less, you can head on Twitter or multiples with Fresh Mommy Read, hashtag Fresh Mommy Read. Okay, so I just have to say, so that statement from James about living in a beautiful space is important. And that part I definitely agree with. I don't think it has to be the most expensive or the best of everything, but I think just taking care of the place that surrounds you. I know that for me, when my space and my area is cleared out of clutter, it allows my mind to be freer, to think and to function and to write and be creative. So it just allows me all of that. And when I am surrounded by a more cluttered space, I feel kind of the effects of that, and I'm not as free to be me or creative. I'm thinking about more what needs to be done or just not feeling as comfortable. That's me personally. What do you guys feel about that? Or even just that statement that James made in the book.
I definitely feel, because even though I do like to layer, like we had mentioned earlier, and I I like odds and ends, and I like full bookshelves, and I like knickknacks and stuff. I do also have a place for everything. So I tend to go around at the end of the evening and I put everything back where it's supposed to be. So even if it's a lot of little things together in one place, they're supposed to be there. And I feel better going to bed knowing that everything is where it's supposed to be. I also am single. These ladies have children and husbands and, people probably messing up all of their stuff all the time. Whereas I just have a dog, and I mean, while she is very messy, she doesn't really pick things up and move them around unless it's her own thing. So for me, I can put stuff away, and usually it stays there. But yeah, I definitely think having a space that, well, one, that feels like you is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
I think part of obviously getting older, you kind of discover your style and you discover what it is that you feel comfortable in and feels like home, because, growing up, you're in your parents' home. Like, everything looks like they want it to look and feels the way that they want it to feel.
Make it your own,
So when you get to create your own space, whether that's in your room or in your dorm room or in your first apartment, like, I feel like creating that space to really feel like you makes you more productive, leaves you happier, because
definitely.
It's something that feels like a genuine reflection of yourself. So
I agree. I feel like it's more of an energy drain if there's
That's exactly what it is.
Too much stuff going on.
And
I feel like the more people you have too, the more stuff you're naturally gonna have anyway, because everybody has their stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like, they have children who each have their own things, and husbands. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, my stuff is my stuff, and I like it.
And you can know where you're putting stuff and leave for the day and come back, and that stuff is the same way. And I'm sure you're like me. If I leave for the day, I have no idea what I'm coming home to.
I will say, when I first moved down here to Florida, I lived with Tabitha and Chris.
I'm gonna get some punch too.
And it was only when they had Brayden and Aaliyah, so it was only when they had their first 2 kids. And I had never lived with young children before, or someone as organized as Tabitha. Tabitha's very organized. Or she was more so, she was very, she's still organized, but I feel like as she's gotten older, she's gotten more relaxed in that organization. But when we first moved down here, she had bins for specific kinds of toys. And I remember when we would be picking up with the kids, I'd be like, just throw it all in the bin. Just put it away, get it out of the ground. And they'd be like, no, these are for the these are the trucks, these are the blocks, these are the Legos. And I'm like, you just mix them all together anyway.
Don't put them out on the floor.
And then I would be away on a trip, and I would come home, and I knew that at some point I would need to go into the kids' room and pull out their bins and just start separating and stuff. And I have gotten better. I've allowed it to let some things go, because it used to bother me. I just knowing that stuff wasn't put away in its place would always just I'd be like that
you give
me that rub.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get rid of.
That's the thing though. I'm a little bit more free. As long as it's picked up, I'm happy. I don't really have that OCD quality of
now with 4 kids, I still would prefer it that way, but it doesn't.
I'm sure it helps.
It doesn't bother me as much. And now they're also older, so they can. I want to allow them to have the freedom and opportunity to find, to a certain extent, be able to know where they put their stuff. As long as it's put away, but maybe they want to have certain things with certain, however. So, like that, allowing the older ones to kind of do some of their own organization, because it might look different to someone else.
I will say though, when you're a kid and you can't find something, you always yell for your mom.
Right.
Oh yeah, always. And then when they don't put it away in the right place, they get mad at us because they can't find it. So
I would get mad because my mom would walk in my room and she'd be like, "It's right here," and she would just find it right away, and I'd be like, "I looked for an hour before I asked for help," and I'd be so frustrated. How do you know everything?
How is it with triplets? I'm sure they're because they're probably, are they so different personality-wise and how they are with that? Are they
They,
similar, more similar.
yes, my daughter, I have 2 boys and a girl, so my daughter is very organized and loves to put things in its place. We also have bins with different labels, but at the end of the day, I'm like, just dump it. It's just going to end up on the floor anyways. So my daughter is definitely more
that type of personality. Yeah. Okay, so we kind of rabbit trailed, but that's what a good what Club and Chat is about, right? Because and then you get to learn about each other and all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely have changed over the years. Gosh, when I lived on my own, my place looked like a hotel room. Like, now not so much. Okay, so let's see. Let's do another question. Okay, so considering Lauren Graham's profession, do you think that Someday Maybe was a memoir of sorts? I know it's not categorized as that or an autobiography or anything like that, but do you think it was based off of her life?
Isn't there a saying like art reflects life, or is it life reflects art? It's probably both, really. I feel like obviously she's a creative person and she's an artist. She's an actress and she's obviously a great writer. So I feel like she probably draws from her own experiences. But she also knows a lot of other people who have gone through it as well. So she's probably drawing from a lot of experiences. Her friends' experiences,
her
people
own
that she's heard about. So I feel like it's probably more of a combination of stories that she's heard and stuff that she could imagine happening. Because once you experience something, you can imagine other things. A lot of
other things.
Like it's snowballing into this way or this way. I'm the kind of person that will, before I do something that maybe makes me a little uncomfortable, I'll kind of try to imagine every scenario that could possibly happen. So like I'm mentally prepared. Like this could go really great, and I feel this way, or it could go like way the opposite way. You have to be ready to be prepared for that kind of,
Yes.
At least that's what I do. But I'm sure it's probably a little bit of mixture of both.
Yes.
If I was writing,
it would be drawing from exactly.
Even like I tend to write from my personal experience or what I've gleaned from watching other people. So,
and even with this, like to be honest, her personally, I don't know a lot about Lauren Graham's personal life. So I mean, I have no idea where she's from. That I probably could have researched, but so I agree. I don't necessarily think it was written. She wasn't writing all of her experiences, but I think a lot of it has come from that.
Yeah.
But yes, so we, Carrie had mentioned a couple of things too. I'm going to read your comments. Carrie said, I'm blessed to have my own office and I'm able to personalize it how I like, even though I share it with my husband. And I have an organized mess, but when I'm done with the project, I have to declutter and refocus. Like now, it's a mess. Yeah. But I'm the same way. So actually, even in here in the studio, I had, why am I talking about messes the whole time? Somebody stopped me, but first I'll share this story. So I had like 3 or 4 different photo shoots and projects happening. So even up to a few hours ago, there was craft projects. Well, that's actually the finished part of one of them.
There's still some.
Yeah, there's still some, but craft projects like scissors and paper and all different things out, and then food stuff and different styling plates and platters and just stacks of things. But while I was doing it, I was in the middle of 4 projects, and so kind of had to have everything out and moving it around. But then as soon as it's done, to like calm me, I need to start putting stuff away. And then I can
putting stuff back
in its place so that I can be calm.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see here.
She said, I bet it was based off of certain experiences. And then she said, Franny Skirtins just said it.
Exactly.
We think alike.
We agree. So what did you guys think of Franny's struggles with self-confidence? Did you think it was relatable? Did you sympathize with her crazy internal dialogue and lack of life direction? I think she kind of had a life direction, at least that she wanted to go.
Yeah.
I think she just, a lot of times, like a lot of us, doesn't know how to get there. You can see where you want to be, but you're not sure the steps to take. So she was just kind of like,
Well, I think when you're also
stuff
in kind of creative
Mhm.
field, whether it's acting, photography, singing,
Yeah, creating with your hands,
painting,
exactly. Yeah.
sculpting, that kind of field where you have to kind of be vulnerable in a sense. Not that other fields don't require vulnerability, but I feel like in that way you're creating something or you're putting something out there and people are going to judge it. Like that's the whole reason you're doing it in a sense. So I feel like the insecurity is definitely going to always be there in a way, like because
whenever you're creating,
people are human and some people like things and some people don't.
Right.
So you know that it's not maybe going to be received.
Everyone's always going to like
the best, like the way that you want it to be. But at the same time, I feel like,
because whenever you're creating, it's almost like part of that is part of you. It's your baby or something you're doing. I know you create and you make things and run a business, and
it's an extension of
exactly. It's an extension of things you believe or things you feel or designs that you like or what you want to say to the world or what you feel about certain things. So it's all, no matter what it is that you put out there, it's an extension of you somewhere, somehow, even if it's not, so just exactly. There's just like you said, there's always a vulnerability in putting something out there.
And I feel like the more vulnerable you are, the more likely you're gonna be insecure, or not insecure, but like, what's the word?
I think the more open you are to
nervous or
it's like the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Right,
like you can do big things, but it takes a lot to just take that step and even cross those boundaries, because it's so much a part of you that fear of failure is huge.
Right. And but I feel like part of kind of growing as well, and growing as, I think we're all very creative people. You create stuff, I create stuff. So for us, we probably reading Franny's story, we could relate in a way, because it's very similar to kind of the life that we've chosen. Especially being self-employed, like because you're like, not only are you creating things and you're trying to like make money off of creating those things, and
even just some of those struggles, like
lifestyle.
Is that like some of the struggles she went through with the thing I'm doing, is it worth anything? But at the same time, it still is giving me a paycheck, but what is it contributing to the world?
The world.
Was it contributing to my life or the world, or what am I doing with my life? But I also need to eat.
Right. And I think that's
pay rent.
Something a lot of people business owners is identifying the value of the product that you're putting out there. I think that's the biggest thing that you, like, at least for me, that I struggled with, because obviously you know how much time and energy you're putting into something, but at the same time, it's like, I sell prints, but it's just a print. Do you know what I mean? It's going on someone's wall. So it's like, how? Yeah, she's got them all over her house. Literally just put them everywhere. But like, it's to put, or like even when we did photography, like we did like senior pictures or weddings, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, it's a skill set and it's an art form, but at the same time you want to be like budget conscious of what other people are.
You're pouring in like thought and what
Yeah.
you're creating, and the time and the effort and the energy and all that into it. Yeah,
I feel like that's when I thought of like the insecurity, that's what I thought of, was more so just.
I like Carrie's comment here.
Yeah.
She said, I felt like she never really felt that she was good enough. And at the end, she totally was. She just needed that confidence.
Yeah. And I think that's what I was going to say. The older you get and the more established you feel in your craft, whatever it is, I feel like the more the confidence comes from you instead of how other people receive you.
Yeah, in any field, I'm sure you feel.
Yeah, in anything.
When we were just doing photography, what was it that we would hear over and over and over? Like, you're not you're not even a photographer until you've been shooting for like 1,000 hours or something.
Way
like,
more than
and
that,
that's like where you start.
Yeah.
So like when you, just because you get a camera, it doesn't make you a photographer. As far as like even in your confidence to walk in and
Be able to
command the attention of whatever you're doing. Exactly. And
we've
that
been
way
doing
so many
it for
things.
like 7 years, and I still don't
Like, what am
own
I
it half the time. Like, I forget what to do. Like, I know how to take a
What do I
picture,
do?
but like, I'm like, oh, crap,
Well,
I
that's
have to,
the thing
like,
I
pose
like.
people.
That's what I liked about this is whenever Franny would go into a situation or a new audition or like a new thing, she would just be. Well, one thing I like about books in general is getting to see that inner dialogue, because that's what you don't get when you're next to someone all the time. Obviously, you're not hearing the inner dialogue. So that's what I liked about books in general. And then this book, whenever she was going in for an audition or things, it was just real, because the whole time she was just being a real person. You know, I'm just a girl and I'm here. And, you know, when she was worried about treating people that were working with her well, and they're like, okay, but just tell me what kind of coffee you want, you're being difficult. And she was like just trying to be nice, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe I don't know this world. Nice. Exactly. So, but I just liked seeing that whole inner dialogue and struggle, like every time she went and every time you go and, you know, in front of people or doing a new thing or even doing the same thing, but it's still, you can still have those feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Carrie also, or she said, I could completely relate. I love the saying, keep your eyes on your own paper.
Yeah.
Which is so true, because especially in our world, like now with social media,
Yes.
like
Oh,
you're
the
seeing
comparison is
everybody's
crazy.
perfect life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect, but what we see,
It's
we see
curated.
the perfect curated
Exactly.
part of the life. And I think it's so easy to be like,
Because I don't want to show all the nasty stuff that happened, all the, you know, the throw up everywhere and the diaper blowouts and all the stuff. I mean, and
but
honestly,
they make good stories.
They do. They're good in-person stories, and I have a really, really good one that I'll probably tell you later about that. But it's really, really crazy. And gross, yes. So like that, the days that I'm pretty quiet on social are probably the days that there is just a lot going on, and I'm just trying to swim. You know, just trying to like stay afloat through all the stuff with 4 kids, business, all the different things. And exactly. And that's when I'm quieter on social, because it's for when I don't always feel like I have time or, you know, all that. So my feeds, just like most people's, are at least a little bit curated. But I actually just wrote a post about that. Because just lately I was feeling the balance between all 4 kids was just off kilter. Like, how am I balancing all of these things or not balancing? And just that little bit of mom guilt was kind of creeping back in. And that's when a lot of times we'll go to Facebook or go to Instagram and start scrolling because we just want to escape. But then you see the curation. Yeah, exactly. The curation of someone else. And then that's when you start, and then it's like this cycle. And, you know, breaking out of it. But anyway, yeah.
I definitely think that that's just something we all need to keep in mind, to keep our eyes on our own paper.
Your own paper.
I love that quote.
Good quote.
On
Good
your
job,
own paper.
Carrie.
I like that one.
I'm gonna put
Next
that on
t-shirt.
the fridge. Yeah, a t-shirt. There you
Nice
go.
t-shirt. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so what did you guys make of the geometric shape of Franny's love life with Clark, James, and Dan? I have to say the entire, I guess, scene, because for me, reading the book felt like watching a show or a movie. So the scene of them walking out of the movie, by them I mean Franny and Dan, and just the kind of banter back and forth about the love triangle and then the love octagon and the love square and every other shape that you could think of. I actually thought that was a really funny scene, and I could totally see Lauren Graham being that person, like talking. Or Lorelai. Exactly. It was not Luke. Who would it have been? I don't know. Yeah, maybe Lorelai and Luke.
Yeah.
Going there on that one. I think so. And really, that's what I could see is just going through it. But I just thought that was funny, and I think it was funny how she was kind of deflecting and not admitting that that's where she was in her life.
Right.
feel like we do that a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think about that? Did you like that?
Yeah, I like the scene. I thought it was funny. I thought she was deflecting a lot. So I was like,
Right.
all right.
Are you fighting this so hard?
Yeah, exactly. It's something good. But that seems like what she was doing throughout the book was fighting.
Yeah.
What was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel I don't like love triangles.
Nope. She does not.
I actually hate them. I don't like them because like she was arguing that it's not true to real life because you could be in love with like so many more people. But even I was like, what? Like for me, thinking that someone can be in love with 2 people is like, are you what? Like that's crazy. Like I never experienced that, and I just whenever I read it, I'm like, ugh. And then when he had said that the reason writers and directors do it is because it's something that
it's relatable.
People can relate to. I was like, well, the only reason why we can relate to it is because we see it in every television show, movie,
every
book. It's not because like we've all experienced where we've been in love with multiple people.
But it does happen, and I don't think it's necessarily in love. I think it was more the potential for love.
Right.
Like she had different relationships with different guys. Not that they were all boyfriends or they were all
or like the back burner.
Exactly. Yes.
Clark.
And I think it was also about like choosing the guy who's good for you versus the guy who may not be so great for you in terms of the love triangle.
Well, definitely, and I think, well, that's the thing though. Like have you had multiple people in your life that have you had that many options? Like who has that many options? Like you're married and you have children. I'm single and I'm telling you, there's not octagons out there. Like,
well, here we go. This one, I could relate to her love life from my early 20s. Yikes.
Okay, well, she can relate. I can't relate. Like, I just like, who has all these options out there?
This one's just picky. I think that you have.
I am, and I think I'm also very old school. I'm too old school for this world of dating. But in any case, for me that was
a whole new world.
I enjoyed what that scene kind of brought up, but at the same time, I just kept thinking, no. I know we're not on the same page.
I thought it was funny. I've had a sort of kind of triangle.
Carrie said, picking guys who weren't great for me and ignoring the good ones, thankfully for a short time and only that one time. One at a time.
Yes, that's good. I mean, I would say I've had not necessarily relationships at the same time, but I kind of had from a little bit of a triangle.
Your parents wanted for you and what you wanted for yourself. Right?
Yeah. But it was still there. It was still Yeah, exactly.
But you weren't like torn. I
wasn't personally torn choosing necessarily. It was more. But I don't think that's what she was doing either.
No,
she wasn't even admitting what she was feeling at this time. And she wasn't necessarily torn and choosing either, just kind of saying I think the whole reason that in this scene, in this story, she was so against it because she was feeling that and she was fighting it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like she was experienced the New York lifestyle. She became a New Yorker.
Right? Yes. Okay, so I think that was the same. It's just kind of the same question. So I'll go down to another one. Let's talk about the female relationships in the book. Like between Franny and Jane. I thought that was a fun relationship. And even like they mentioned, the sassy brunette friend. But so I think their relationship was fun. They were able to be real with each other, at least I thought. And then Penelope. And so yes, that was another kind of female relationship. But what do you guys think? What do you think about the female relationships in the book, or what was most authentic to you?
I mean, I liked that they were really supportive relationships. Like even with Penelope, like it was nice not to see any of the the fighting type of things.
Right.
It was really somebody who was for all intents and purposes her competition, but really just authentic and trying to lift each other up. So I was happy to see those relationships.
I actually think that's a really good point, just for women in general. I feel like I don't know why, but sometimes women can be the worst at tearing each other down.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that competition comes out.
Yeah.
And for no reason, we can feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though that they were even Franny and Jane could have been competition too. I mean, they were both actresses, even though and from the sounds of it, they were both brunette, but they weren't in the same circles or doing the same things, but they were still in it. But I do love how they were kind of so opposite that they just helped lift each other up and be that kind of yin to the yang type of thing, and sounding board on different things. With Penelope, I liked her and I didn't like her, and I think that's probably how most people felt, like she was just. But I think it was also more because of the internal dialogue going on in Franny's head and her feeling threatened, even though I don't think Penelope was necessarily putting that out there.
Right. It was
for her.
Franny's
Yes, exactly. It was her own thing, but I still like how, like you said, they still supported each other through it.
I kind of felt like there was that. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether I liked her or not until the scene at the movie premiere, and then I was like, "Oh, she's awesome."
Yeah.
Like,
have her back.
Yeah. What's his face?
Yeah.
When you what?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, what? Walk away.
And that's something, like, if you go back, that's even what Jane had told her before when Franny was saying something about, like, just some of the different things in their life seeming fishy, or is this weird? And Jane was like, well, no, what's weird is your boyfriend saying, I'm going to be out on a shoot, and so I'll talk to you in a few days.
Yeah.
Like, she, and so she kind of.
I don't even know when we'll talk.
Yeah. And so I think even Jane kind of was bringing it up then, like, no, that's what's weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's not normal. You shouldn't have a boyfriend that's like, I'm going to be gone now, and I don't know when I'm going to talk to you. But
Carrie says, I liked the relationship with Franny and Penelope because in the end she found a common ground with her.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, something we can all learn.
Yes.
Because technically you can probably find common ground with pretty much everybody.
Somewhere.
There's something there that you can, find.
Have in common, something, something you can agree on.
You're not enemies on everything.
And even if you don't agree on everything, I think that's the biggest thing just in life now, and with social media and different things now, we don't agree with everyone. Like, I mean, we're close friends and we cannot agree on stuff, but it doesn't mean that just because I don't agree with her or anyone else on something that I should begin to tear them down. As a person, just maybe we don't agree on that subject.
Right.
But there can be other things, like you said, and like Carrie said, that can be common or find that common ground.
Well, I don't know about, like, for me, I think about, like, working environments or working with different people. Like, for me to be happy in any kind of environment, I have to but I have to get along with the people that I work with. I want it to be the best experience for both of us, in a sense. So, and I've read a couple books, like the 5 Love Languages books is really good. Personality Plus is really good.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
How to Win Friends and Influence People is really good. And I feel like those kind of books kind of teach you to, one, step outside of yourself and see how someone else is maybe responding to a situation, or kind of being observant and seeing what it is that they like. Yeah. And then finding something that you get, like, I've done it pretty much everywhere I've ever worked, whether it was McDonald's or the marketing firm that I worked at or the bank that I worked at. There's people that I initially don't necessarily, I can't find that. It's rough at first. Yeah. And my goal is always to try to find something to get that door
to win
open.
Friends. Exactly.
Once you get the door open, it becomes way easier.
I think that's what's huge about Personality Plus, or all the entire personality series. I know one from Florence Littauer is a really good one. And I think that's what helped me a lot. The 5 Love Languages is a really good one too. I think that helps even more as you're already closer with someone. But the initial kind of interaction, just talking about this, and if you guys haven't read anything about personalities yet, and again, Florence Littauer is a great one for teaching on that, just really helps, because even on that first initial interaction with someone, a lot of times you can see what kind of personality they are. And there's so many times that I feel like things happen because of miscommunication, and
Right.
so many times miscommunication happens just because we don't necessarily know the person, and so we might not understand the way that they're saying something or how to take what they're saying, or
Right.
you know, some people are more serious, some people are just so many different ways. And so I think kind of understanding the personalities, you'll be able to understand where that person's coming from just a little bit more. Basically what it's doing is giving you more information before making that judgment.
Right.
Because we're so quick to make a judgment a lot of times, but it's all based on our interpretation of what they're saying or what they're doing.
Right.
And we don't know what happened in their day even
Right.
previously that is influencing how they're behaving.
Exactly.
So if we don't ask the questions, then
Exactly.
there's a lot of misinterpretation.
What's that saying that we always used to say, and I can't remember, but something is real. Like something is reality. Like how you take something is your reality. Oh my gosh.
Perception is reality?
Perception is reality. Yeah. So you might be doing something completely different, and I might be perceiving it in a way that's opposite of what she's
And for you,
actually
that's
doing.
the truth
But for
for
me, exactly, that's my truth. That's my reality, because that's how I'm perceiving it.
Yeah.
So just, learning more about personalities in general and how people are in general helps me to kind of just open my mind before I take judgment of that perception. That's my
Well, and I think what that challenge, what those types of books challenge you to do is to kind of, it basically makes you think about the other person, not not to judge them on what they're doing, but to think about how they're feeling.
Exactly.
And think about, like you said, what could have happened during their day.
Yep.
'Cause a lot of times we don't think that initially. If someone offends us, we're just offended.
Right.
And
they're just so rude.
Maybe
they're
their dog died, or maybe we don't think any of that.
And
stuff.
it could be
We're
anyone. It
just
could be
mad.
the person serving you your coffee, or it could be the person, you know, and just
So I think that those books challenge you to kind of really look at people.
Yeah. And even
make them a human, not just somebody that's out there to
serve you or do something. Exactly.
So,
and I think that's what was good, just kind of with the relationships, even in this book. For example, Penelope, I think a lot of times, at least I did, I was starting to have my perceived notion of her, and it was all based on Franny's inner dialogue and interaction of her, but it was Franny's perception that was making this character a reality.
Yeah.
And not that she was even necessarily doing anything bad, but I just didn't necessarily love her in the beginning.
Right.
But then to have come out, you know, who she was. But I think in life we don't always have to be quite as surprised of what people do, because we can be more open to, you know, to who they are, and being open to our relationships with them. And there's something else I was gonna say, but I don't remember.
It'll come back to you.
Exactly. So who was your favorite character in the book? And
Dan?
why?
Dan? Is that his name?
The roommate?
Yeah. I think I just liked him because he was kind of awkward. And I feel like he was a really good friend.
No matter what. Yeah.
Most of the time I don't really like female characters. Which is horrible to say. It's horrible to say. I know that that's not a great thing to say, but I think a lot of times, because writers and people tend to make women really insecure
and wishy-washy
and driven by their emotions, I tend to get really annoyed with the female characters. I'm like, yes, we are that way in a sense, but so are men.
Just going back to,
but they make the men such stable.
Yes.
That it's easier for me to like them.
So let's just take it. Let's take it back, way back. Let's take it way back to Twilight.
Oh, jeez.
Let's not. Maybe we shouldn't. But we go over that, and just the facts that the female character, the female lead, is
she's a
wishy-washy and has such. I think just that.
I had to remind myself as I read it,
because
we were older when we read it, that she's a teenager. But even then, I didn't experience what she experienced. Well, the emotional things. Obviously, I didn't have.
I mean, in this one, Franny wasn't quite as, but still was a little.
She was a little. She was more
bit.
mature. I just feel like she was what you were saying before. Like she was more so pushing things away because she just was afraid, or like she. I feel like that's a little bit different than the younger type of wishy-washy, but still, I liked him better. I liked his character because I felt like he was super supportive no matter what. And I mean that obviously that was his character. He was in love with her, like
but he was consistent, consistent through it. I mean, she had ups and downs, but that's what made it fun. I liked Franny. I liked her character. I just thought she was really entertaining. And that she would be a fun friend. She would probably drive me nuts. And I would be like, just get somewhere on time. Like, just do your laundry. I don't know. She'd probably drive me nuts. But I liked her. She was fun. And so I would be like the opposite friend. Yeah. Opposite of her.
She'd be organizing
she was fun.
her life.
They're like, what are you doing? What are you wearing?
If you left 15 minutes earlier every
day. Or reading about the outfits that she was putting together and wearing and stuff. And I was just, and I know it was set in like, 1995. So it was set in the 90s. The whole Filofax thing. I had one. Did you have one?
I didn't know what a Filofax was.
I
mean, obviously, we're the same age. We're the same age. I just don't think I ever called it a Filofax. Even in the 90s, I don't know if I called it a Filofax. I just called it like a planner.
Yeah, and we have planners now.
But
it's kind of the same thing.
The planners. And we still write on them exactly like she does.
Oh my gosh, and stuff. Except for I don't quite draw all the like characters, and I really like that about her. I liked like her drawings all over her stuff, and so she was just fun. I liked her. She was a fun character. I liked Dan a lot. I liked his like consistency, even keeled. Of course, they needed that. The book needed that. I liked her friend Jane. I think that it was just a good balance all around. But Franny was just fun. What do you think? Who was your favorite?
I liked between Dan and Jane. I liked Dan because he was really consistent, but I was like, there's nothing like negative about him.
Yeah,
right.
Like it was like,
they didn't give you anything negative about Dan.
Well, and the other thing is kind of what you're talking about too is emotions and stuff. That the female lead in any book, you're getting all of this random craziness about her and these random thoughts.
Yeah.
She might not be quite she was quirky, but not quite as quirky on the outside as what we're getting because we're reading her internal dialogue the whole time. Where who knows what Dan was thinking half the time.
Yeah. I'm sure he was
or doing.
Right.
But daydreaming about their love for each other.
That's fun.
Or zombies.
That's all he did.
How he was going to win.
I love her. What am I going to do for Franny?
Yeah. Okay, she said, Carrie said, I don't want to pick the obvious, but Franny and Dan. I related to Franny a lot, but Dan is an awesome friend.
Yeah. Agree.
Franny's self-talk joke.
I
didn't know what a Filofax was either. Exactly. I don't think we ever have called it that, but I loved that's one thing I really liked about the book, and it just kind of made it more real. I know.
She also said, I'm so glad she finally saw Dan for who he really was.
So, like, if you guys haven't read the book yet.
Sneak peek.
Yeah, sneak peek. But this is what I liked about it. There were just sections that this was like Franny's planner. This was her life. This was her dialogue. I mean, like, some of the stuff, call dad, but really. Like, I just liked how she wrote some stuff and did stuff. So I just thought that made it a little more real, a little bit more relatable. I don't know. This one is like empty. This must have been a week that she just slept. I don't know. But yeah, coffee, detergent, need seltzer, cheese, puffs. Cheese puffs.
It's the 90s.
Lots and lots of cheese puffs.
Cheese.
So yeah, so I just thought that was fun. So anyway, that was something I liked about the book. I like it when they kind of make it more real like that, or have. Okay, I will say another thing I really liked was the whole answering machine. I liked how it was such a throwback. So I mean, she didn't have a cell phone. Half of her struggles were because she didn't have a phone, so she was like finding a payphone or calling from somewhere to call in for her messages. Did you guys remember doing that? Oh my gosh, I remember doing that. And I liked the whole answering machine, and I liked how it would just like give you the messages, you know, beep, and then the whole message from dad. The messages from her dad were awesome. I think those were my favorite messages to read. So yeah, I liked all the throwbacks. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked it the way it started the chapters too, because I was like, what's the transition gonna
Yeah,
be? But it was like a fantastic transition.
Yeah, so she did a good job, or her and the planning team in this book, with that. But if you're a 90s kid or a child, would it be child of the 90s? Or it would be a child of the 80s.
Technically, but we were like babies in the 80s.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
So
Then
we don't
you would
really
relate to
remember
the stuff in the 90s,
Yeah.
the answering machine and the
Yeah.
Doc Martens.
Yeah.
Yes. The crazy hair. I think that's why I liked her. My hair is crazy. It looks kind of like Breenie's. It actually used to, when I was
Rice
little,
is way
it was
curly.
like, it was tiny, like tight little
Spirals.
ringlets all over, and it was just crazy.
We'll
And
insert a picture. No, I'm just joking.
I need to find a picture. I need to find a
Yeah.
photo. That
It's
is
like
my job.
really
I need to find a
curly.
picture. And it was just crazy. And I
But
looked,
I can find
like,
it.
as a kid, was like Shirley Temple. So, I mean, it was just that whole thing. So,
She,
yeah.
Carrie said, and the fact that Dad didn't understand the caller ID.
Yes, that was
That
so
was funny.
great.
I remember when caller ID first came
Yeah.
out, and people were like so freaked out when they knew
What
who
is
it
that?
was.
Yes.
How did you know?
How do you know?
I was calling. And I'm like, it says your name.
Yes. Yeah, I think the dad, I don't know, maybe I'm changing my story. The dad
Yeah,
might have
the
been one of
dad
my
was a
favorite
really good
characters. Because
character,
he was
too.
just funny, and just how he was always like, not necessarily understanding anything, but being so supportive, even though he didn't understand. So she got an audition, little, I'm not going to share too much, small spoiler. Like, she got an audition, or she got a job, but it was a union job, so she had to join the union. So her dad sent her $1,000 to join the union. But he's like, okay, so you got the job, but you have to pay them to work for them? She's like, well, it's to join the union. And he's like, but didn't they know that you weren't part of the union when you auditioned? And she's
Right?
yeah, and he's like, so what? But if they know that you have the job, can you pay them when you get paid for the job? And she's like, no, it doesn't. So, like, just the whole thing, like, him trying to understand it and not getting a grasp on this world and this changing world with answering machines. Like, he won't have an answering machine. That was one of his things, too. And her trying to explain it and getting flustered. And I just remember those conversations sometimes. And she would just be like, Dad. And you could so hear her voice when all it said was Dad. Like, you knew it was that inflection.
You
Dad.
bring yourself in that.
Right, exactly. Yes, so those are fun. Yeah, that was my favorite character. That's the question we're on?
No, we were talking about the 90s. Well,
How did we get here? The last
my
question
favorite
was
character.
favorite character.
Oh, she brought up her dad, the dad and the caller ID. And you started talking about the dad. Carrie brought it up.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so just before we close, I know we've been talking for a while, so we need to get going. But before we close, does anyone have any, like, certain passages or things that jumped out to you? Anything that you wanted to share?
There was a passage, but I can't find it now. I should have marked it.
I know, I had the same thing. Next
Yes.
month book club, I'm going to have, like, sticky notes, and I'm going to mark little things. Because I had a couple. There was one from, I think, what the dad said, and then there was also something from Billy, or what was the old guy, the agent? There was something that he said that I liked. Oh, I also liked when he was like, when you get famous, don't write a cookbook.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's what all actresses do, is write a cookbook. And
People buy
but people buy
cookbooks.
cookbooks and like cookbooks. We were just in the car the other day, and I'm not an actress, but my child was in the backseat. He's like, Mom, you need to make a cookbook. I think you should write a cookbook. But anyway, side note, rabbit trail. She's trying to find a curly hair picture. We will owe you that one. I have to find it. It's in there somewhere. But yeah, okay, so overall, what did you think of the book, and what would you recommend it to friends? Personally, I thought the book was a fun read. It wasn't, while I think that you can always find a lesson, even all the stuff we talked about tonight, it feels like it's a self-help book because I'm walking away a better person, but while you can find that in any book, it was not that kind of a book. It was a fun novel read. I would say it's a great, vacation book, a good summer beach read, poolside read. It was easy to read. Again, knowing the character that Lauren Graham usually plays in a lot of shows, I feel like that translated to her character in the book. And so it was really easy to see and kind of feel the character throughout the book. It was just one of those that you were really easily able to get into. With that said, I think it was a really fun story. There were a couple parts that I was like almost felt lost for a minute, and had to like go back and read.
Well,
although
some of the inner dialogue was a little.
it might have been a little much. Yes, maybe that was it. A little
maybe
bit long
her
at parts.
self-reflection, or there was just some parts that was like, okay.
Also, could be the fact that I have 4 kids and I like half the time read it at night when I'm falling asleep. So there were a couple of times that I would think I would kind of wake up and be like, wait, where was I? But it was a very, very fun book to read. She was a fun character. And so, yeah, I just think overall it kind of, to me, played out like a fun rom-com movie.
Yeah.
And so that's what it felt like I was seeing in the movie theater, watching a romantic comedy.
I found a
found one.
like.
Sorry.
Oh no, go for it.
It's Tab and Chris.
Can we see it? So
Go
that, wait, here we go. That's, I know, I will. I think I'm just going to have to repost this one. If you can see, those are my crazy curls. And that's actually like tamed. This is a tamed down. It's kind of pulled back like this with a little bit curlies. And then that's my husband.
That's before they were dating.
Circa 1999. I'll have to repost that one. In the 90s, baby, I probably had my Filofax in the purse somewhere. And my Doc Martens on.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, what did you think
I wasn't
overall?
cool enough for Doc Martens.
Overall, yeah, I liked it. I mean, time is expensive, so it's a good summer read or vacation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I found the passage that I really loved though. It was just real quick. It was when Franny and Dan were talking about how her name is from the book.
Oh yeah.
And then he talked about, it's on page 312, and he talked about he's counseling that the repetition of a simple phrase, just the act of repetition itself, will bring enlightenment. That's the thing that always stuck out to me, the idea that quantity becomes quality. I always took it to mean if you do anything enough, if you keep putting effort in, eventually something will happen with or without you. You don't have to have faith when you start out. You just have to dedicate yourself to practice as if you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I really loved that because it reminded me a lot of yoga and a lot of mantras, and how you can just continue to repeat a mantra and then you'll all of a sudden you feel or see change.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved about that. I loved that.
That's really good.
Well, I think that's definitely, when you think about confession, like we believe that there's power in what you say. There's power in your words. So if you say something negative about yourself over and over and over again, you're speaking it over yourself, and it's something that you're easily going to believe if someone else says it, or eventually that's
the more you hear it, you just start to find it as true.
So like constantly saying something good or recognizing the good and being vocal about it. I think that's something
that's a really, really good one. Yeah.
Can implement and should be implementing.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, we've said it, I think we've said it before, and sometimes it can have a negative connotation, the whole fake it till you make it thing. But have you ever had, I guess it's just #mom life. You might have had this. Had a moment where everyone's just down. Like kids are whiny. Everyone's just kind of like irritable, probably hungry. Usually that happens when everyone gets hungry.
Yes.
And then even I'm just like not in the best of moods. But then but there is a way to turn it around. And so sometimes I'll just do something by pretend laughing and make them laugh, or start tickling them, or just playing music and playing a crazy song and just dancing crazy. We are like, our family, my husband and I are like the king and queen of turning the music on and doing crazy car dances. And my kids will, especially when they're in a bad mood, it turns it around. And maybe I didn't start out happy or laughing for real or wanting to, or even with a real smile, but I know how to turn it around, and I know I can't get there without putting in that effort of, I'm going to smile, I'm going to laugh, or I'm going to dance, or I'm going to do something to turn the situation around. And so it kind of is a fake it till you make it. Yeah, I might not start off as a real laugh or a real smile or whatever, but it becomes that because I'm putting that the effort in and putting that out there. And so,
and that becomes a choice that we have, and we have
Yes,
control over the
it's that
situation.
power.
Then.
Yes.
So yeah, so
I
it's
think
empowering.
That's really, that
Choice.
itself is powerful. The choice.
Yep.
We have the choice to change our situation, whatever the situation is.
we
to
have the
change,
power.
to change our minds. Like if we're feeling negative, or we're feeling sad, or we're feeling frustrated, or we're feeling overwhelmed, we have the choice to change that feeling, because it's just a feeling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that in itself, just the fact that it's a choice, like you're choosing, even in spite of what it is that you're feeling, to make something a memorable moment for yourself, for your kids, and that in return, like you get the fruit of that, because you're, you're putting something good in there, and you're in return getting it back.
All throughout our day, even like I was saying in that blog post I wrote, and how I was feeling recently is like that, just like the balance and with kids thing, but it's not, and it made me think of it when you said memorable moment, because it's not about, okay, I'm going to balance this out and figure this all out and just, kind of on paper, let's tally it all up and check it off. But what can I do? And just like you said, I think that's the biggest thing of the night. It's the choice. It's our choice. What can I do? For example, with my littlest, I was feeling down. She's my fourth, and I haven't had a lot of, well, she does travel with me, but just recently, like I haven't had as much time with her. And then realizing like, wait, I'm having this time, I'm giving her a bath and all these things. But if I'm making the choice to giving her a bath, but let me check my Facebook, let me write this down, and I'm thinking about what's next and all the distraction, it's not quality time. But I can set all that aside and make even the mundane, the normal, everyday things that we do together something special, something celebratory, and just have fun with those small moments and make them memorable moments. But it's all because of a choice of what I'm going to do, or how I'm going to do it, or how I'm going to feel or act. Yeah,
Definitely.
I think,
But even with our family and like kind of that do now bucket list, because when I was sitting down with my bucket list, I was like, I'm never gonna, and then I had to make a choice, and I can pick some things that I can actually do now, and I can take that power back and be happy about it. And
that's awesome.
so
that's so good.
Carrie said that she thought it was an easy read, and fun read. It was very relatable, and she liked it. Liked the reminder to be you, and in the end, it will all work out.
Yes.
And then she also said, yes, Tabitha Blue, smiling and laughing usually turns it right around. Kids can't help but laugh and smile when we are.
Yeah.
It's that frown upside down. I think that's a perfect way to end up the night what we have, thumbs up. Everyone has a thumbs up for this book, I think, from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
This book is a thumbs up, a good, like we said, summer read, beach read. What's our book this month?
It's The Woman I Want to Be
by Diane
van Furstenberg. And it's a memoir.
And I heard, I haven't started it, so but I haven't. That's the one that you said has a lot of quotes, right?
There's a
lot of quotes in it.
Really
and
good
I'm
quotes.
really excited. So if you start reading it and you see quotes that you love, send it out there. #FreshMommyRead so we can retweet it or share it and all that stuff too. Plus it'll be kind of fun seeing like where everyone is in the book. So I would like to see your.
Sorry, I just got a message saying I finally figured out how to chat, but I don't see anyone chatting. Do you see anyone chatting?
I don't.
We're gonna work on
we're gonna work on that and see if we can get this working better for next time. Because I bet someone else was commenting somewhere. So when we're done, we'll go back through and see if a bunch of comments show up and we can answer. But thank you so much, everyone who joined in with us. Again, if you read this book or other ones, you have recommendations, or you're reading along in the book, we have a book every month. You can find the entire list on our video here on this channel, the book club video, as well as on freshmommyblog.com. So both of those have the book list for the whole year. We have it planned out. And then again, this month for March is The Woman I Wanted to Be by Diane von Furstenberg. And the first Tuesday next month is when we will meet right back here and we'll chat about it again. So I'm so glad that you guys were here. I'm so glad that you guys were here live in person. That's awesome. So we have an entire table of snacks that we're going to go devour while we finish off the night. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Anything else?
Uh,
We're good? Okay. We're good. Bye again. This is how I hang up with my family. We say bye about 5 times. So, bye.